Okay, here with JL. Your third major. Does it ever wear off, that feeling?
Uh, I cried at the last one that we qualified. With Apex, I qualified to the RMR. I didn't cry. With NAVI, 3-1, we qualified to the Legend stage. I cried. And now this one, I didn't cry. It's because I know there's one more waiting to get into the elimination stage. Most likely a game. If the favorites win, we have to play a game. I decided one. It feels good, but job's not done yet.
And how are you feeling coming into this? Because we all know what happened in Singapore and the Mouse game yesterday as well. Like, do you feel like you're at 100% right now, or is it a bit to go?
No, we're not at 100% right now. But it's fine. We made it to the major. We have a lot of time to prepare, fix the mistakes. As long as you know what the problem is, there are solutions for it.
And you said this in broadcast as well. And what you kind of mentioned a bad boot camp, or like maybe not a perfect boot camp. Can you kind of expand on what you meant by that?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say this, but we got hit by a virus. It was quite strong. Really fucked me over. It screwed wonderful. Yeah, there was a lot of chaos at the boot camp, so it was a short one, and also it didn't go as planned. The first few days are really good. We're good practice, winning the games, actually implementing the new stuff that we talked about. But then once some of your players kind of take a step back, it was a different game.
And are you glad you're in the ARMR then? Because now you've qualified if you do win the elimination game later as well. Like, then there's a lot of time to have the classic long NAVI boot camp. Like, how important are those boot camps for you when it's tournaments like this?
It is really important because we kind of reshuffled the whole strat book. We don't scratch it off and then add new things. We just improve on the things that we had already. And so it's not easy for the teams to read us, and we have a lot of new stuff that we trust and have confidence in, because when you don't have a lot of practice, you kind of forget the things that are working for you and why they're working. So if you got a strat, whatever, let's call it Fanatic, and you just see a role, but you don't know the idea of the round, of course it's not gonna go as well, because you just see smoke there, flash there. CS is not supposed to be played that way, so it's good to refresh all the things that you had.
And is it more important for a team like yourselves, who are kind of based on this strategy kind of mainly, and having these runs of tournaments, right, where you're playing every week, final every week, no time to practice? Like, how hard is it to keep your playbook refreshed in that sort of run?
It's hard. Of course, we refresh it before every official. We have theory time, game prep. We try to refresh it as good as we can to kind of mix up the opponent. But sometimes you get lost as well. You make a new round and maybe you didn't understand it that well. Maybe it was towards the end of your game prep, so you didn't pay attention as well. It's hard. So ideally for me, a tournament should be, you play a tournament, you have a couple of weeks break, you prepare, you refocus, and then you play the next tournament. That way we could have really good boot camps, really good preparation, and you would see a lot of best CS that could ever be played in those tournaments. But if you go from tournament to tournament, of course, you're not going to see the best CS. You're not going to see the best players because they're tired, fatigued, focusing on other stuff, because real life is also there. So yeah, best case scenario, I would like to have a couple of weeks break between each tournament.
And that's something for next year as well. And it's a long way away, but how are you guys going to approach next year? Just like a quickly, do you know yet?
I'm probably not the best guy to ask that. I don't know much. I didn't really pay a lot of detail to the schedule, what the tournament's going to be like. I know what tournaments we're going to play, but I'm not sure about the schedule. For me, I think it's going to be better because you get to pick and choose the tournaments and you have some skips. So if you really want to have a good run, you can prioritize tournaments. But yeah, maybe I'm very wrong. Maybe you cannot prioritize and you just go from tournament to tournament to tournament. And in that case, that's bad. I mean, it's good for the viewer. It's good for the sponsors, but it's not good for the teams. You will rarely find the best of CS being played at every tournament.
And I wanted to ask as well about the RMR's board generally, because with Apex, obviously it was the RMR system that kind of got you your break and made playoffs and stuff. Do you think, like, what's your kind of opinion on the RMR's going? Because you're one of those players that did benefit from them, right?
It's going quite well, to be honest, for the favorites. There were not a lot of upsets happening. Even though it's MR12, best of one, the teams that are supposed to win, they're winning. There's only been a couple of upsets, if I'm correct. Sinners almost pulled an upset against the Cloud9 today. didn't work out for them. Would have been really good for us. We would have skipped a decider match that for the elimination stage. But yeah,
I mean, will you miss it next year? Do you think it's good for the scene or bad for the scene to have kind of the invites off ranking instead?
I feel like it's bad. It benefits us as a top team, but I feel like the pressure and the nerves of playing an RMR, I like it. It's very dangerous. Every single day you're stressed, you're not panicking, but you're a little anxious until you actually make it. And still, we made it to the major now, but our goal is to make it to the elimination stage. If it was next year, we've already been legends because we're top one. So, yeah, I like this feeling. It gives a lot of, I don't know, it just gives a lot to the grind. Yeah, I like it.
And it's like having that one moment, right, of like the kind of, you've made the major. Like it's going to be weird next year with, you're checking the ranking points and things like that. And even this like fourth place decider, like, do you miss kind of having that one round where you can just get up and you've done it?
Yeah, for sure. Next year, I feel like checking the points, rankings, all that stuff, I don't think it's going to matter to us. But for example, you're a team that's this off from qualifying and you don't make it. Maybe because you skipped the tournament, you didn't perform as well. It feels out of your hands, out of your control, and the RMRs are in your hands, in your control. You can play the games. You can actually qualify for your own game and not the points. So I think it's going to be a little sad too, with the people that barely not make it.
And back to NAVI itself, if I want to ask a little bit about your map pool itself, because everyone knows you're the most studied team and everything, and your Mirage had lost a few in a row, and then this event you smashed Mouse on it. So is that something where it's one of those things where you're so dominant on it that you don't have time to work on it, and you have now? Like, where do you see your map pool going into the actual major?
It was one of those where you're dominant, so you don't put as much attention to it, and then going from tournament to tournament, you focus on your weaknesses, not your strengths. And while Mirage was our top map, with time coming, it dropped, and now we have to work on it as a usual map. But we put some work in at the bootcamp, we put some work in here, and the results showed. We played really well.
And on yourself as well, it's kind of a bit of a tangent, but I want to ask about kind of how you see your own year in terms of not only top 20, but other awards and things. Like, how important is the major for you, like on an individual note?
I just want to play a good major with the team. I'm not really thinking about individual performance as much. Of course, it's good to perform well, but I know that if I focus on my individual too much, I'm gonna drop off. I've tried this before. I had a couple of bad tournaments. I was turning a bit too egoistic at times. So I'm just focusing on the team. And if the team is winning, I'll also be performing well. So that's my main focus. And that's why you probably see me lifting the mood quite a bit, shouting, because I know that helps the team and it also helps me. So yeah, but other than that, I'm still going to put 100% into my individual preparation. Yeah, feeling good about the major right now.
And do you see yourself as major favorites coming into it still? Like, what is the attitude coming in?
I mean, we're the only CS2 major champions, but it's a very competitive game. And even the 6th streak grand final run that we had, there was a little bit of luck, a little bit of outplaying your opponent. There was a mixture of things. So I wouldn't say we're the favorites. I'd say there's a lot of teams that are on equal terms. A lot of teams can win it, like Vitality, G2, Mouse, Spirit. I'd say there's 5 champion contenders. I don't think we ever had this strong of a scene prior to a major.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.